Did you know that your plants will actually show you that it's a little bit overwatered before it's too late, even when it's dry? This Anthurium that I have right here, this is our Magnificum, it is currently showing this exact sign, and it's even dry. There's no water in the bottom of this, there's plenty of roots and everything. Yet, this plant is actually overwatered, and it's telling us that it's overwatered, and it's a good thing that I looked because I easily could have overwatered it even more by giving it water. So I'm going to show you exactly what it is and how you can prevent it and why it probably happened. So here on the back side of the leaf, you can see that there's some blocky areas that are a little bit darker, and this is actually water that's built up in the foliage, and it's always more prominent. You can see it in the back of the leaf better than in the front, but it doesn't mean that it will always just show up in the back. Sometimes you will see it in the front right away, but for sure you'll always see it in the back of your foliage first. So this phenomenon is called edema, and this is when water is absorbed by a plant, and usually the roots are absorbing more of the water than the plant can actually do something with. Now there could be a couple of reasons why this happens. In conditions where it's cooler and it's really high humidity and a little bit darker, the water is not going to be evaporating as quickly. It's going to stick around longer. Your plant's going to hold on to water in its pot more. If there's not as much light, then the plant can't absorb that water properly. This Anthurium was on our wall over there, and its leaves, as you can see, stick out pretty far. So we have a light up over there, but it's closer to the wall, and this leaf is out past where the light is hitting, so it's not getting the proper light. And this space is fairly well lit, and these guys can handle low light compared to a lot of plants. However, it still was not getting enough light, which resulted in the edema happening, because without the photosynthesis, it's not going to be able to do what it needs to do with that water, so it's just sticking around. Now, that's not the only sign, right? So there's two leaves on this, and the second leaf, this is the older leaf, it clearly has a lot of yellowing going on, and this is the worst sign that your plant is overwatered, right? This leaf would probably be in better shape if it was getting better light. Obviously, it has plenty of roots to absorb water. It should be able to handle it, but clearly it wasn't getting enough light. I don't know if you can see it, there's actually a little drop. Oh, I just touched it. There's a little drop of water right here on this leaf, and that's another sign as well. Usually if your plant has edema, it's probably also dripping from the foliage somewhere. So it's normal for plants to sweat a little bit here and there, but if your plant is excessively dripping after you watered it, just take a look at the back of the leaves. You never know, it might have a little bit of edema going on, and if that's the case, it might need some more light, maybe put it a little bit closer to light. And if you're in the case of us, where this pot is completely dry and I was going to give it water, I'm not going to do that until its edema goes away, or at least lessens quite a bit. If you give a plant that already has edema water and it's not getting enough light, there's a possibility that the cells that the water is currently in is going to burst, and then it will cause even worse damage. Sometimes that ends up being holes in things. If you've ever had a plant where the water builds up inside of the leaf, that is the most severe form of edema, and we've had that happen with a couple of plants. It happened with our philodendron strawberry shake, and the variegated portion of the leaves just kept on holding so much water. Sometimes it would become somewhat underwatered. It just still continued to have that problem. If where you bought the plant from, it wasn't already getting enough light and it already had this issue, it might be something that you're kind of fighting with for a little bit, but you just want to keep an eye on it so then you don't accidentally go and water something that you think needs it because it is completely dry, but yet its foliage is still holding on to all of this water. In some cases, the other issue is that your soil or medium, whatever you're growing in, is holding on to too much water as well. So your plant is getting water all the time, and that's not what plants need. They need to have their dry and wet cycles. So definitely make sure that your soil is a little bit on the lighter side. One other important factor to keep in mind is also your airflow in the space that you're growing in. If the airflow is pretty much just stagnant in a room, the water's just going to stick around on your foliage, in your foliage easier. You really want the air to be moving. It makes a big difference. Plants breathe through their leaves, so the airflow, it makes a big difference. They do breathe through their roots, just like they do with their foliage. Maybe not just like, it's a little different, but you get what I'm saying. Well, I hope this tip helped you guys out. When we first learned about edema, it really made a big difference for us because it really is that first indicator that a plant is holding on to too much water. And it takes away a lot of the second guessing with whether or not you should give something water and if that is the problem, because sometimes something will go wrong with your plant and you can't tell if it's drying out, if you've overwatered it. I understand when you're first just getting into plants and it's not always easy to understand what's going on. Or even if you just bought a plant and you're not quite sure if the pot's entirely dry, you're not familiar with the medium that it's growing in, all kind of factors. This is the one thing where your plant literally is telling you what's going on. All right, well, I guess just let me know in the comments if this helped you out a little bit, and let me know if there's anything else that we should talk about. I want to do a little bit more coverage on things when it comes to pond. I've been getting your questions about that, and I will see you next one.